I'm Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today we're going to talk about low light plants. Low light plants are an absolute necessity for most plant collectors. So a lot of plant parents do not have the ability to have a lot of natural light. They just don't have a lot of windows. If they have windows, they're very large. They're sharing windows with other folks. There are other plants that need these windows. Sometimes you just have a little bit of space and it just happens to not have very much light, and you would love to put a plant there. Places like a bathroom would be an example. We have a whole video on bathroom plants that meet these requirements. But today we just want to talk about those low light plants that are going to be popping up throughout your home in those little cracks and crevices where you just don't have a lot of light. The first one we want to talk about today is Philodendron Burle Marx. Philodendron Burle Marx is a very beautiful plant. It's got some lobes, it's got spear-shaped leaves, they're bright green, they come in very glossy and then they get darker and more matte as they mature. They can be very, very huge and take up a lot of space depending on how much light you give them. Being low light, most of their leaves are going to stay small, but they're going to create a very bushy formation, and they're very easy care, can handle drought quite a bit. They have a lot of crazy growth going on. You'll end up having one little leaf over here, and then it'll pop out another leaf over here, and then you'll have 3 or 4 more coming from the base, and eventually it's just a very wild and crazy and beautiful looking plant. They don't need a lot of maintenance, which is absolutely awesome, and they don't need a lot of light either. In the same family, next we have Philodendron Hederaceum, which is also known as the heartleaf philodendron. This is just a bright green heart-shaped philodendron leaf. They're usually vining or trailing, unlike the Philodendron Burle Marx, which is actually more bushy. With this vining trailing philodendron, you can have them climb, or you can have them trail over a pot. You can have them go along your walls. It just depends on the aesthetic that you're going for, but these plants can survive just about anything. They're pretty darn fabulous as far as light goes. They'll still grow even if they hardly get any light at all. And they certainly stay alive even if they're not getting very much light, which is actually really awesome. So you can shove them in a corner and forget about them for a while. They're still going to grow even if they don't get a lot. Another plant that had to be on this list is snake plants, also known as Sansevieria and reallocated to Dracaena. They're really, really amazing plants. They do not need a lot of water. They do not need a lot of light. They have a bulbous root system, so they can actually rot if they get too much water. So definitely let these guys dry out. If they have hardly any light at all, they're not going to grow very fast or very well. They'll just kind of sit there and chill and be that shape. So you want to make sure when you're putting them in your corners or your specific places, especially if there's hardly any light, that you're getting them the size that you want. Because unlike the philodendron, this plant is not really going to grow. It will just mostly grow very slowly and kind of stay that same size for years on end, which is awesome in and of itself, because if you don't have a lot of room but you still want that greenery, you still want a live plant, snake plants are awesome for that. Next on our list is Lucky Bamboo. It's also a Dracaena like snake plants. It looks very similar to bamboo and can actually get very huge. Even though it doesn't get a lot of light, it can still grow very, very quickly. You can see ones that are about 2 or 3 years old, just living in some rocks and some water. They almost look like mini trees the way that they're growing. They can be 3 or 4 feet high. They don't get bushy so much as they get tall. So a lot of times you'll find them very small, clumped together in grocery stores and whatnot, and you just leave them in their little pots, set them somewhere, they'll water every once in a while, and just continue to let them grow. They actually grow fairly quickly, surprisingly, with very little light. So if you want something that's going to get very big and very quick and kind of take up a corner after a couple of years, definitely get a Lucky Bamboo. Another plant that grows super quickly, even though it doesn't get very much light, is a Syngonium. Especially if you can get a Syngonium without very much variegation and it's a more green Syngonium, like an illusion Syngonium, they're going to grow so prolifically over a couple of years. They'll just get very big, very bushy. You can put them on a pole, have them trail upright, and that'll be perfectly fine. They're happy to climb, but they'll also kind of creep out and create a very bushy hanging plant as well. So they kind of fit two needs depending on where you want to put them. And they just are so cool to watch grow, because sometimes if you have them with variegation and they get a little bit more sunlight peeking in, or they're closer to a light, they'll have a little bit more variegation going on. You can also have green on green going on, and they don't need a lot of light for that green on green variegation either. It's just a really, really fun plant. They have little lobes as well, so as they mature, they're gonna get more and more lobed, and you'll have like these little ears sticking off of them in the back. It's just a really, really cool plant, really fun. You can put it pretty much anywhere. They don't need a lot of light. They're also, again, like the philodendron, very, very drought tolerant and very quick growers, so definitely give them a shot if you're looking for something for a low light plant. Be sure to check out indoorgardening.com. We have lots more information there, and we are always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!